Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video for Men's Minds Matters. I am your host, Aaron Ryder, and today I am talking to you about a very, very important topic, one that many parents will deal with, especially if you are no longer with the other parent of your child. You are in a what's called co-parenting situation, and there are many things about co-parenting that is difficult. But before I begin with that, let me just remind you that you are not alone in this. In fact, studies have shown that roughly 50% of all children live in a home where there is a co parent situation, or rather, live in two homes where there's a co parenting situation, where their parents are no longer living together. So, when you drive by schools or you drive by places where where kids are playing at the playground, just know that half of those kids are dealing with this. So it's not something unique to your situation. The good news is that with positive parenting and positive co-parenting, your kids will grow up and not have any lasting effects. But the goal of this video series is to show you how to avoid some of those negative things and especially how to deal with them if they are coming up as a result of your ex's behavior and words. So let's talk about loyalty conflicts. What is a loyalty conflict? A loyalty conflict is an experience a child has when they feel pressure to choose sides between their parents. Okay, so if you are a parent and the other parent is active in the kid's life, there is always going to be a little bit of some ebb and flow with the relationships. I can see this with my children. Every once in a while, they favor mom on something, and other times, dad's the favorite parent. And my wife and I try to be very cautious about that and be very clear that no, we're equal partners in this, and we're working together. There is no favorite parent, just like mom and dad don't have a favorite child. The kids do not need to pick a favorite parent. And this also includes supporting and encouraging each other when our child is going through this. So that happens naturally. But what this is, and I'm going to put it back up, if you look closely, what it says is when they feel pressured to choose sides. So this is when one parent is encouraging them to support one parent over the other. And there are a number of things that they do. What we know from this is that this can have a lot of negative impacts on the child. So why do parents do this to begin with? So what the causes of a loyalty conflict? First of all, we have jealousy. This would be missing time in events with their child. They feel jealous of that time, and so they want to create a loyalty conflict so their kid will spend more time with them. Two is a fear of loss in connection, which seems egregious when you think about it because the response to you losing connection with your child should never be to break off the connection that they have with their other parent. That does just the opposite of what you want. And you know what? Someday those kids will grow up and figure it out and realize who really pushed them away. And so that is another great reason to not do it. Guilt. This is when they feel bad about their own actions, which may have impacted the separation. Sadness over what has happened. This is a very natural feeling when a relationship has ended. Loneliness. They miss their quality time with their child. I have to be honest, loneliness is probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons parents get into this, but it's also one of the biggest struggles when you have a co-parenting situation. In fact, I hear time and time again people say, you know what, we're just sticking it out for the kids. And as bad as loneliness can be, I want to encourage you not to do that. There are a number of reasons why you should not stick out a relationship just for the kids. It has a very negative impact on them. All they're going to see is how not to behave and how not to act. And as hard as it may be, and as lonely as you may be to miss your kids, it is better that they see you as willing to stand up for yourself and live in a non-toxic environment than not having that contact with you. Because at the end of the day, it's better for them to not see you in that negative light. Remember that quality time is always more important than quantity time with kids. Next, there's anger. Anger over what happened, and of course, with that anger comes with the desire to want to have revenge. If they think they were wronged by you and they are angry over it, they may try and get your child with them onto their side as a form of punishment. Narcissism. This is a common buzzword that gets thrown out a lot. There are people who are called narcissists, and it's become a very popular term. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on what a narcissist is, but a narcissist, for our purposes, it's defined as a person who is overly self-centered, vain, and selfish. Everybody is going to be a little bit selfish. We're all a little egocentric, and sometimes that's okay. When you're totally giving of yourself, you never stand up for yourself, and that creates a lot of problems as well. So a little bit of selfishness is okay. However, narcissism is an extreme amount of selfishness. The best way that I would describe it, and I realize there's a lot of different levels of narcissism, but the best way I would describe it is a narcissist is someone who can only love themselves. And of course, if they can only love themselves, then they can't love you and they can't properly love the child. And so instead of seeing the child as a child to love and care for, they're going to see the child as a pawn and their way of getting more selfishness and filling their narcissistic tendencies. So what do we do? What is the impact on the child? Loss of self-esteem, physical symptoms like headaches, stomach aches, things like that. Creates distrust with authority. And I think people fail to see how undermining the other parent can ultimately lead to the child's greater problems with other authorities. Because when you teach a kid it's okay to undermine an authority figure like their parent, it won't take long for them to figure out that maybe it's okay to undermine you too, along with teachers and other authority figures in their life. And so you're going to do a lot of damage to them by creating a loyalty conflict. It also creates irritability in the child. This can cause them a great deal of mental and emotional distress that we would like to avoid them having. So I know what you're thinking then. Okay, great. I don't want to do a loyalty conflict with my kid. I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So how do you avoid it? How do you not get your kid into a loyalty conflict? So number one, do not fight fire with fire. Just because the other parent has induced a loyalty conflict, do not get down to their level. Do not act the same way, because all of these negative effects are only going to be increased in your child. And if those are bad things for your kids, don't do them. Next, focus on positive parenting. I'm a big fan of the Common Sense Parenting Curriculum. It's one of the ones that I teach families when I meet with them on a regular basis. And it's a great strategy out there. But essentially, positive parenting is a way to help your relationship with your child. And then finally, building a bond with your child. When you create a strong and lasting bond, and we're going to talk a lot about ways of building those bonds in subsequent videos, but when you're building a good bond with your child, you are going to help them have insulation against attempts at a loyalty conflict. Loyalty conflicts might very well be one of the hardest things that parents have to deal with when they're in a co-parenting situation. And I hope that over this next few videos, where we're going to be talking about some various concepts and various components of loyalty conflicts in more in depth, it will help give you the tools to combat it if you're seeing it, as well as how to avoid it in your own relationship. So thank you very much for watching. If you like these videos, we encourage you to like and share, as well as follow our page, as we're going to be continuing posting videos like this that we hope will help you, and especially the men out there who are wondering how to deal with things. That's the purpose of this channel, is that men's minds matter, and your mind matters too, and your relationship with your kid matters a lot as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.